Hey folks, welcome to today's video, and welcome to my neighbor mowing his lawn all day long. Alright folks, well I'm just chilling in my backyard here. Today's it's Memorial Weekend, just chilling. It's Saturday. Today I'm going to do a little bit of carving and talk to you guys about how I start a spoon, just a simple spoon project. I think I've done several videos on it before, but today I want to show you some products that if you're interested in spoon carving and bowl carving and things like that, I want to show you some products, some knives and tools that can help you obtain a finer looking product at the end. In other words, a lot of the things I do, I just use my knife to make a spoon with. That's what I did multiple times on a loan, and also just, practice in my backyard. But if you want the product to end up looking a lot better than some of the rough stuff I've made, then these tools will help you out. So stay tuned. What I have here is a set from Beavercraft tools. I had a gentleman ask me if I would be interested in taking a look at some of their products, and I said sure. And then I immediately asked, he got me in contact with the company representative, excuse me, and I immediately said, folks are going to ask me what sets your products apart from Mora. And the reason I picked on Mora is just because they're definitely well known, and it's also a foreign company. Beavercraft Tools is from the Ukraine, so I figure, comparing foreign company to foreign company, it's not exactly apples to apples, but kind of. So anyway, these are some of the products that they sent me. I've got a nice little hook knife here. Some carving blades. Another hook knife. I'll lay this set out so you can take a look at it. One thing that I noticed right off the bat that was different than my Mora hook knife, and it could be just because of the model I got, but these come in left and right-handed, so not both edges aren't sharpened. One edge is dull so that you can put your thumb back there and get yourself, some good leverage. The one that I have from Mora, it's sharp on both sides, so you can't do that, but there's pros and cons to both of those. But anyway, let me spread this set out and I'll show you everything they sent me, and I'll show you a couple products that I've worked on with these knives. I've used just about everything in this set now. The only thing I haven't used is this and this. This thing really intrigues me. This is like an ishi stick for spoon carving, and this one is sharp on both sides. Once again, I apologize for my neighbor, but he's mowing his lawn. It is what it is. So the first thing I do when thinking about carving a spoon is obviously gather a stick. The type of wood that you choose, whether it's a softwood or a hardwood, whether it's dead or green, will definitely make a difference. I like carving them out of green softwoods just because it's easier. Yeah, so what I like to do is make a couple of cuts on this. I think the spoon probably can go right there. So actually maybe, yeah, let's get this little knot off of here. And the first tool I like to use is just a normal bushcrafting knife. This is a Genesis. This was a special run that I did with the Bearded Burton on YouTube, 52-100 steel. Anyway, got rid of a couple little things there. Just to make it easier on myself, there's a knot right here and a knot right there. Just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to try to make the bowl somewhere right here. So I'm going to make a cut here and here. I just try to make a circular cut and try to make the cuts end up together. Depending on the diameter of the wood, I usually go in about, say, on a piece this big. My cut all the way around on a piece this big, my cut all the way around is approximately that diameter. So approximately 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch on a piece this big. The key for me, like most things, is to go slow and not get too aggressive with it. Just let the saw do its work here. Then I'm going to baton some pieces off of this just to make it a little easier so I don't have to sit here and carve to make this small, because this will be the handle obviously. I'm just going to baton this. So that becomes a stop cut, that cut I made with the saw. So now I got a little bit of a rough shape for the handle. I'm going to carve this end down. And I don't really have to be too careful with this other than the fact that I don't want to go deeper than my stop cuts. Okay, and that's even okay for right there. All this is a handle for me. So I'm just going down and dirty really rough here, but alright, so this is just really crude here, just knocking it out really quick. But this end would be my handle. I can hold this end for carving and rotating the project around so that I can work on this, the spoon area, from both ends. So like I was saying that the hook knife is right or left-handed. If I'm using pressure with my thumb this way, I can spin the project around and do the other end of the bowl. So for instance, this little knife here, this is the back side that's dull, this is the sharp side. I can get up here and carve with this. Then I can turn it around and carve this way. Here are the different progressions of, for me, making a spoon. So I've got the really rough blank here. I wouldn't have started on the spoon quite yet because I want to make sure the handle, or the bowl, I wouldn't want to start on the bowl quite yet. I want to make sure the handle, like when I first split this, I went a little crazy with the cutting and the batoning, but I think I definitely still have enough room for a spoon, for a handle. I tend to make my handles a little thicker than I probably need to, but anyway. So I would make it go from this to this, except this one I cut the handle off a little too soon on this side. But you can see I made this with just the point edge. I can't remember if I made it with my Gen 6 or my Genesis, but I carved out the bowl and everything with my Genesis. With these different knives, they're pretty detailed, and I was able to make a little more refined spoon. Now I used cottonwood on this one. This is dead cottonwood. I'm pretty sure it's cottonwood. And you can see when I got to the inside of it, there's a wormhole and stuff. But this is quite a bit, even though it is kind of crude, and that's just my artistic ability. But it's quite a bit better than this one. Even though this one's not done yet, you can see the end product is going to be a lot better. You can clean up all this mess. You can get in here really detailed with these fine carving knives as opposed to just using your bushcraft knife. And I think that's all pretty obvious. It's just Depends on what you're into. See, I can really get in here and clean this up. And this spoon's been around forever, it's pretty dry. So in just a couple of minutes time here, I've already cleaned this spoon up quite a bit. So that's kind of cool. It really gets rid of all those slivers, those hook knives do. Then I can get in here with this bad boy. Alright folks, well, just thought I'd show you how I start a spoon project and go about making a spoon. I don't do a ton of carving, I don't do a ton of bowls. I have made quite a few spoons. I'm not super artistic about it, but it gets the job done. So I thought I'd show you these Beavercraft tools. Like I said, a friend contacted me and asked if I'd be interested in taking a look at them. I do like them. I think they're pretty cool. I made some notes here because, like I said, the first thing I asked him was, what separates you apart from Mora? Because that's, I figure, probably going to be the first question. And I kind of researched it a little bit. Beavercraft has, I didn't see a gouge on Mora's website. Maybe they have them, I don't know. But they're about the same price. I think the Beavercraft tools are a little bit less expensive, and they're definitely less expensive if you buy a package. If you buy a tool set, then they're going to be less expensive. They're right around 20 some odd dollars a piece for the knives. But like I said, if you get them in a set, they're quite a bit cheaper, like almost like a third off. So like 40 bucks for like three different ones. The Mora knives, some of them depends on which ones you get, but they're either usually I think 1095 or a laminated type steel. And when I asked Beavercraft what type of steel they made theirs out of, they said it's a high carbon steel, a 30 MNB5. Never heard of it. I researched it a little bit. It says it's a tool steel, you know, whatever. I haven't noticed any, I've had them for a while now, I haven't noticed any patina or discoloration, but on the other hand, I've kept them dry. Yeah, I carved with them for about, my last camping trip, I think about 4 to 6 hours, well, about 4 hours, using the various ones, and they held up pretty, or my hands held up pretty good. So I'll do a overview here of this at the end of the video, but you can see these handles. They're, you can take a look at these handles. So like I was saying, I was carving for about 4 hours, and I did get a couple hot spots, but that's because I was carving for like 4 hours, and and before then I hadn't been carving for a while. So they're definitely not, you know, like a Gen 6 or a Genesis handle, but I mean, they're still really comfortable. They just, I don't know, pretty utilitarian as far as I'm concerned. I like them. I think they're pretty cool. I'll definitely be packing a few of these on my next camping trip for sure. So my conclusions on the knives. The spoon knives I used quite a bit, and they're performed just as well as my Mora spoon knife, so those were good. The little carvers, the little knives, I carved, like I said, I was carving with that set for about 4 hours, minus I didn't carve with the gouge and I didn't carve with the big spoon. But the rest of the set I carved for about 4 hours, just different projects. And the little carving knives I brought home and I just barely touched up with a very smooth ceramic stone and then stropped them, and they are just razor sharp. They're like little scalpels. The hook knives, I need to still touch those up a little bit, but the edge retention has been just as good as my other spoon knives that I've used. So I've got no complaints there. Yeah, so I think they're a pretty good deal. I mean, it's not like you need to have them for survival or for anything like that, but if you're looking at a wood carving set, I'd give it a shot. They worked really good for me. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you, like I said, these Beavercraft tools, and yeah, hope you're having a great one. Hope you liked the video. Take care.